Hello everyone. This is a no save, no damage run of Resident Evil 1 Remake. Jill, real survival, best ending, with a completion time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 10 seconds. Played on a PC at 120 FPS, using the original 4x3 video, and using alternate controls. I will try to explain all of that as we go through the first sections of the game. The intro cutscene takes us from the mansion main hall to the dining room. Ignoring Barry's detective work and into the tea room for our first enemy encounter, the iconic turning around zombie. And Kenneth is there too, but we're ignoring them and running back into the dining room so Barry can take care of it. Jill is weaker and slower compared to Chris, but she has Barry, she can get the grenade launcher, she can get the shotgun early, has a lockpick, more inventory space, and overall an easier time. Stair skating up and down for the next cutscene. Stair skating is done by using the D-pad and mashing the run button. Stair skating is faster than just running up and down the stairs. Modifying it means remapping the right analog stick to the run button using the Steam overlay. Each direction with the right analog stick is mapped to run, that's even faster. Get the timing right and Jill will be completely still and just glide up and down the stairs. Stair skating doesn't work with alternate controls because you can't use the run button with it. Running is built in, so to speak. Skating up the stairs and into the mirror corridor. First dodge, hugging the corner on Jill's right. Grabbing the golden arrow. Then a handgun magazine on the floor. Backing up, bait the attack out, run by. Doing that is fairly consistent, but sometimes they sleep, sometimes they do not lunge. So either have to keep backing up to keep trying to bait out an attack, reset the room, or try something else. The second floor dining room, luring this solitary Zed over so we can run around and push the statue off the ledge so we can get the blue gemstone later. Real survival is the hardest difficulty. Auto aim is disabled and item boxes are not interconnected. On the plus side, the doorknob going from the east wing stairway to the dark corridor does not break. Back in the main hall. Down the stairs to the graveyard. There are two Zeds out here. First one, softening up with a few handgun rounds, then getting the knife out. The trick here is to keep him on the stairs. If there's an elevation difference between you and a zombie, they can't initiate a grab, so they'll vomit instead, which is easy to dodge. Running, slashing, repeat. If using the knife, when they go down, they don't get back up again. Normally, you have to decap or burn Zeds, or they'll come back as Crimson Heads, stronger, faster, and equipped with claws. These particular Zeds don't have Crimson Head models, so they'll just despawn when you leave the room. First one down. Repeat the process with the second one. Best ending refers to saving both Barry and Chris. Getting the best ending, or as long as Barry makes it, means you'll have to fight the Tyrant at the Heliport. For Barry, you have to give him back his gun for the Lisa Trevor boss fight, and make sure he doesn't get knocked off the ledge during that fight, and make sure Tyrant doesn't kill him during the Heliport fight. For Chris, you have to get 3 ammo discs to release him from the holding cell in the lab. I don't like the widescreen and how the camera pans in some rooms, so I prefer the original 4:3 display. Alternate control means that moving the analog stick in a direction will move Jill in that direction. Move it up, and Jill will move up towards the top of the screen. Continue holding it through camera changes, and she'll continue to move in that direction. It can make for a lot of quick dodges, but if you let up on the analog stick or change the direction after a camera angle change, Jill will move in that new direction, and it can be a little disorienting. With tank controls, moving up really means moving forward. Whatever direction she's facing, she'll move forward. Using the alternate control scheme gives you both. The analog stick is alternate, D-pad is tank. I like using both and being able to switch back and forth. And as I mentioned earlier, you have to use tank controls for stair skating. After both are down, grabbing the shotgun shells in the corner. Then examining the golden arrow to get the arrowhead. Opening up a long stairway to the crypt. Grabbing the Book of Curses off the pedestal, and examining it to get the sword key. Then back to the main hall. I only have a few mods for this game: the RE Upscale texture pack, the remastered HD inventory icons, the retcon pack, which changes the character's outfit slightly. Jill's is the most noticeable, she's a lot more blue, and a sound mod that adds the music back in the large gallery after solving the portrait puzzle. Apparently, this track was originally supposed to be in the game, but it was ultimately removed from the final release. From the main hall, heading back to the second floor dining room to use the sword key to unlock the door to the West Wing inner stairway. But we're not going through there yet. I'm pre-unlocking some of the doors so I can deposit the sword key. Back in the main hall, using the sword key to unlock the door to the C corridor, but not going there either. Going back downstairs, through the art room, using the sword key yet again to the L corridor, and we're going through the door this time. Pushing the first cabinet to get a dagger, which is a defensive item. That's a get out of a front grab free card. In the winding corridor, lockpick to the outside boiler. Grabbing the herbicide out of the wheelbarrow, not the green herb off the ground. Back in the winding corridor, into the bathroom, pulling the plug to drain the tub, cutscene, another dagger in the tub, then back out. Through the marble room, into the living room, another dagger on the coffee table, and a shotgun on the wall. Back in the marble room, and the room is definitely getting smaller. Checking both doors to trigger the cutscene,
Oh God.
where Barry saves us. Thanks, Barry. Through the dark corridor to the East Wing stairway. 2 Zeds in here to deal with. The first 2 I softened up with the handgun, and then switched to the knife. This time I'm softening up with the knife and switching to the handgun. He's still up, just an awkward angle. You can see Jill's reaction when she backs up. He's still alive. Now he's down for good. That one lunged. Fortunately, we were just out of range. But if we got grabbed, that's what we have the daggers for. That noise means he's down. Just double checking to be safe. In the East Wing storeroom, first item box, putting the shotgun shells away. Then the knife and the sword key, don't need those 2 anymore. Then grabbing the fuel canteen and filling it with kerosene. The fuel canteen with kerosene and the lighter is what we're going to be using to burn some of these corpses so they don't come back as Crimson Heads. You can also use the grenade launcher with incendiary shells. Up the stairs in the C corridor, dodging around this guy, and into the small library. Grabbing the dog whistle. Handgun magazine. and lighter. Back in the C corridor, using the handgun. Getting a little close, but that's okay. He's still up. Now he should be down. He is. I can almost never get in the right position the first time. He's down, he's burning, resetting the room. Repeating the process with the other Zed. And he's down. He did not take that much. There we go. Before going back to the East Wing storeroom, back in the second floor main hall, we see Barry again. He gives us acid shells this time.
What about
For a grenade launcher we do not have yet. Quick detour back to the East Wing storeroom. Filling the canteen. Putting away those acid shells. Going to burn the two Zeds on the stairs. Then back to the west side of the mansion. If they're close enough, you can burn two at once. However, there's enough fuel in the mansion where we don't need to rely on getting a 2-for-1. To the second floor west wing inner stairway we unlocked earlier. Lockpick to open the outside balcony. Positioning Jill near the corner of the fence, equipping the shotgun, blowing the dog whistle. Wait for the dog, or Cerberus as they are officially called. Aim down, 2 shotgun shells. Grab the collar. Get out. There's a second dog that follows shortly after the first. Discard the whistle, back in the inner stairway. Baiting an attack. Like I mentioned earlier, they can sometimes be sleepers. Resetting the room, trying again. There we go. I prefer tank controls for that kind of dodge. Unlocking the door, back in the mirror corridor. First and only Crimson Head of this run. Normally, the shotgun has a good chance to decap with a headshot, but it's not guaranteed. The first shot against a Zed is 100%. The 2 shots against the dogs don't count. Backing up slowly, waiting until he's all the way up, decap. Opening the collar to get the imitation of a key. And into the death passage. Wait, what's it called? Taking the real armor key from the stone slab. And putting the fake armor key in its place. Now to go back downstairs to the first floor west wing inner stairway. Breezing past, ignoring that save room, the medical storage room for now. If you go in there, the Zed on the stairs will move down the hall around the corner. It's a pretty easy dodge, but since I made that extra trip earlier to grab those acid shells, I don't need to go into that save room at all, except for getting the serum for Richard. In the small storeroom, refilling the fuel canteen, grabbing a battery pack for Jill's stun gun, her other defensive item. Armor key into the northern corridor. Then into the researcher's bedroom, grabbing a handgun magazine off the bed. Reloading. Then back out into the tea room. A single Zed using the handgun. Normally this would be the last one to burn, but we got a decap, so that's even better. Back in the first floor dining room, grabbing the blue gemstone from the broken statue. Then back to the northern corridor again, this time to the tiger statue room. Putting the blue gemstone we just got into the tiger statue. That gives us some shotgun shells. Then onto the greenhouse. Using the herbicide, putting that into the water pump, turning the valve to the red side, which will kill the fountain plant. Now we can grab the death mask off the shield on the wall. This is the mask without eyes. On the way back through the northern corridor, two Zeds will burst in through the windows, which is why I leave the greenhouse for last. Back in the tea room, unlocking the door to the bar with the armor key. Then back to the second floor main hall. Unlocking the door to the outside patio, also with the armor key. Dagger on the bench. We meet Forrest. Grab his grenade launcher, and away we go. Then back to the C corridor for more armor key doors. First one is the pillar room, where we meet Richard. And a quick trip to the medical storage room to get the serum, and then straight back to Richard. After getting the armor key, the zombie here moves in between the two doors, taking the long way around. Running through the inner stairway, hugging the railing. That guy's usually out of the way. On the way through, at least. In the medical storage room, putting the fuel canteen away, as we are completely done with that. Grabbing the serum off the shelf, then back to Richard. Up the stairs on the way back through. Back up, bait the attack, run by. Tank controls at work. Once we get back to Richard, he's going to chill in the corner, and we're going up to the attic entry. Up the short set of stairs, waiting for the Zed to round the corner and get on the stairs so we can run by. Takes a little bit longer, but it's a lot safer. In the small dining room, handgun ammo on the table. Pushing the cupboard out of the way. Backing up into the alcove to lure the lonely Zed who was trapped inside. Apparently the dining room table also acts as a wall. That shot I just missed. There we go. Don't have to worry about him turning. Only had to throw away one handgun round. That way we have a free inventory space. Lighting the candle with the lighter. As soon as it's lit, the attic entry Zed will barge in, running into the small alcove, grabbing the musical score, then going around the table, then back to the C corridor. A few more armor key doors. The armor room. The deer room. And after the item box, the large gallery. East Wing storeroom, getting rid of the lighter. We are done with that. Depositing the shotgun shells, grenade launcher, death mask. Grabbing the handgun magazine off the floor, courtesy of Barry. Then back to the dark corridor. Discarding the armor key after unlocking the large gallery. Then back to the first floor dining room. Grabbing the emblem, then to the bar. Moving the shelf out of the way. Grabbing the other musical score. Combining the two. Then using them on the piano. Hidden area open. Taking the gold emblem. Going to get shut in, but that's okay. Replacing it with the regular emblem to open that back up. Then back to the dining room. Putting the gold emblem on the wall. And that opens up the grandfather clock. Turning the large gear to the left twice. When it's done dinging, the grandfather clock moves out of the way, reveals a hidden compartment with the shield key. Equipping the shotgun, going back up to the attic. Unlocking it with the shield key, the only door it's used for. Our first Yawn encounter. Since we got Richard the Serum, he's going to help with the fight. Running straight to the corner to grab the next death mask, the mask without a nose. Waiting a little bit to lure Yawn to have the pillar between Jill and Yawn. Using the last 3 shotgun shells, and using pump canceling to fire faster. To pump cancel, let go of the aim button and tap a direction of the D-pad. I like to back up. 3 handgun rounds, and Yawn is down for a moment. Skipping the Richard cutscene with the escape key on the keyboard, holding up and left on the analog stick to go straight to the assault shotgun, then holding the analog stick to the right to get out. Back in the pillar room, a solitary Zed. Taking him out so he doesn't follow us into the C corridor. And he's down already. Into the armor room. 4 statues come out. Only 3 need to be pushed. The order is top right. Bottom left. Bottom right. The 4th statue moves back automatically. Pressing the switch. That reveals a jewelry box. Pushing the switch on the front and the back. Opens that up. Another death mask. The mask without eyes, nose, or mouth. Through the deer room. Lockpick into the fish tank room. Ignoring that bee specimen for a moment. Need to grab things in a particular order. Grabbing the lure of a bee. Then the fish hook. Putting those together. Now grabbing the bee specimen. Putting the assembled lure of a bee in its place. Finally placing the bee specimen. And pressing a switch. Revealing the wind crest. Now that bee is actually a wasp, and it attacks. Holding right on the analog stick, grabbing the wind crest, then up and left on the analog stick to get out. East Wing storeroom. Getting rid of the handgun, empty shotgun, and handgun ammo. Grabbing the masks, the grenade launcher, and using the assault shotgun from now on. In the large gallery, pressing the switches under the 1st, 4th, and 5th portraits. Then the switch at the portrait of Lisa, which will open the wall. There's that mod adding that audio track back in. Grabbing the last death mask, the mask without a mouth, and unlocking the door back into the graveyard. Down into the crypt, placing the death masks, The order of the masked. Mask without eyes. Mask without all. Mask without nose. And mask without mouth. Equipping the grenade launcher. Now to fight the Elder Crimson Head. A safe and easy strategy is to use grenade rounds. Turning around, hitting him, he should go down after each shot. Sometimes he doesn't. Wait for him to get back up, repeat. He's down. Unequipping the grenade launcher, pressing the switch. I don't know where that switch is, though. Grabbing the stone and metal object, then back up to the dark corridor. Trying to bait the attack. It was not successfully baited, but that's okay. That's what the daggers are for. Conveniently moves him out of the way. In the roofed passage, placing the stone and metal object to unlock the garden shed. Inside, a battery pack for the stun gun. Then outside to the muddy path. Pressing the switch on the weather vane. The red weather vane has to point at W for west. Radio transmission from Barry, ignoring that. The blue weather vane has to point to N for north. That unlocks the gate to another graveyard, or cemetery, or small headstone area, whatever you want to call it. Walking to avoid aggroing the crows. Placing the wind crest in the headstone on the right reveals the other three crests, moon, star, and sun. Examining the back of the crests reveals protruded shapes. There's not really a puzzle here. You just use the crests after examining them, and it places them automatically. The order does not matter. Once they are in, reveals a Magnum revolver 357 goodness. This is a very American headstone. And we're just walking away, and then running once we're far enough away. Through the other gates, through the forest pathway up to the cabin. In the cabin, heading to the very back. equipping the shotgun, grabbing the square crank, and we hear the door open. Ooh, what is that? And Jill is down. It's Lisa Trevor, and I assume this is her cabin. Waiting for her to get really close, hitting her with the shotgun so she takes stun, then running out and back to the garden shed. The other door of the garden shed goes to the main garden, which has 3 dogs, and we have a Magnum revolver for them. That's a call from Brad, ignoring him. Taking the first dog out, resetting the room. Seeing where that second one is at. Taking him out. Third dog will come from the left. Clear. At the water pool, using the crank to drain the water. Down the ladder and just running through. Down the bird cage looking lift to the falls area, running straight through, ignoring the crows. To the zigzag path, running through that as well, ignoring the adders that will drop down. Finally arriving at the Guardhouse Residence. Through the entry corridor to the rec room. Our first web spinner, resetting the room to move the web spinner away. Giant spiders. Don't need to deal with that. Down the stairs, grabbing the red book off the bar. Then back up. Back in the entry corridor. Pushing the crate. Going to cover a hole and give us something to climb over to make safe passage so we don't get grabbed by a Plant 42 vine, because that does do damage. Through the central corridor to room 002. Not sure why they need the 2 zeros. There are single-digit rooms in this residence. Skipping the cutscenes with Barry, then into the bathroom. Grabbing the room 001 key off the shelf. Then posting up in the corner here by the sink. Zed will barge in. Sometimes we get the dodge. Sometimes, like this time, we don't. But again, that's what defensive items are for. He will now be stuck in this bathroom, then back to the entry corridor again. Climbing the boxes again. into room 001. Wow, a gun with 1 round in it. A self-defense gun, a Derringer 22 Magnum, which is for some reason on par with Barry's 44 Magnum and the rocket launcher. Into the bathroom. Draining the tub, pulling the plug. Grabbing the control room key, getting out of there. Nothing to do or worry about in there. Across the hall to the residence storeroom. Grabbing the battery pack off the shelf. Item box depositing the Magnum, crank, and grenade launcher. Then back to room 002. Pushing the bookshelves out of the way to reveal a ladder. Being able to push the bookshelf on the right without pushing the one on the left first is a trick that can be done at 120 FPS. From my understanding, 120 FPS means there are more collision frames, meaning that you are able to catch the corner of the bookshelf and being able to move it out of the way. In the Aqua Ring entry, pushing the crates to form a bridge. Incredibly thrilling. Now it's time to play in the water. In the walkway, running along until a cutscene triggers, now we have sharks, called Neptunes. There are 3, 1 big one and 2 small ones. The first small one is getting hit with the self-defense gun, which is a 1-shot. Resetting the room, using the assault shotgun. Aim, fire. It swims away for a moment, and then back. Takes 3 shots. It's down, resetting the room. Then running to the control room door. You don't have to kill the first 2 sharks. It is possible to run by. It's fairly consistent. I do it when I'm doing speedruns, but I'm using safe strategies here. Using the control room key, discarding that. Down the ladder. Checking the whiteboard on the table. Valve number 2, we'll need that in a moment. Trying to drain the water in the aqua ring.
Emergency. Unknown source of pressure detected. Locking all doors to achieve maximum safety.
Releasing the safety on the right side of the room. Then pulling the lever for the pressure shelters.
Reaching 30% of pressure threshold.
Now over here, pressing switch number 2 as we saw on the whiteboard.
Reaching 50% of pressure threshold. Activate emergency drainage system immediately.
Releasing the safety. Pulling the lever. This time the pressure shelter will go down. Finally, the switch to drain the water. In the storage area, Magnum rounds on the floor. Then into the water tank. Up on the platform, trying to grab the key out of the box. But the big Neptune has something to say about that. And we're going to counter that by pushing the water control unit into the water. Water flow control. Then pulling the lever for the generator. Turn her to a fish fry. Now we can get the gallery key. Then head back upstairs through the aqua ring exit. Once in the gallery, running to this unfortunate soul, grabbing the insecticide spray, then back out to the central corridor to use it. Taking the map of the residence off the wall, but careful not to examine the hole in the wall after that. Using the spray to take out the wasp nest. Now we can explore the gallery without harassment and get the last key. But we're not getting the key yet. Going into the residence medical room. It's opened up by a panel, and the code is a combination of 3, 5, and 6. Instead of going back to the rec room to light the candles and find out the code, we just brute force it. There's not that many combinations. 356, 365, 536, 563, 635, and 653. And do you want to guess which one it's going to be? That's right, the very last one. In the medical room, we're mixing V-Jolt so we can skip the Plant 42 fight. The solution is on the wall, with the number 1 meaning water, adding the chemicals in a certain way to equal 20. Grabbing 3 empty bottles, filling 1 with water, then UMB number 3, mixing those, 1 plus 3 equals 4. Yellow 6, 4 plus 6 equals 10. Grabbing more yellow 6, and water. 1 plus 6 equals 7. 7 plus 10 equals 17. And 17 plus 3 equals 20. That's V-Jolt. It's a bit of a detour, but as I mentioned, it allows you to skip the Plant 42 fight completely as Jill. And if you're doing a no damage run, if you can avoid a boss fight entirely, well, you can certainly do that. Unless you're doing a no damage speed run, then you might opt to skip the V-Jolt and go for a different strategy. It is possible, it is doable. I've seen it done. I just don't feel like doing it. And since the water is drained, we have to take the long way around. As our box bridge is no longer there. In the guard room, using the V-Jolt by the roots. Discarding the bottles. Don't need those. Then back to the gallery. Back in the gallery. Don't have the key just yet. Fortunately, it's in this room, under the now vacant nest. Room 003 key. Using that, discarding it. Time to finally use that red book on the bookshelf. Taking that file out, placing the red book. Now we have to rearrange them. From the left, switching the first and the fourth book, the second and the sixth book, lastly, the third and the seventh book. Plant 42 is just a cutscene now, and normally I'd skip this, but I went to go get some water.
What the hell is this thing?
Barry!
Jill!
I thought it was finished.
Yeah.
That was close. Thanks again.
Don't mention it. But what was that? What the hell's going on in this place?
After Barry fries Plant 42 for us, grabbing the helmet key, then heading back to the residence storeroom. Cutscene with Wesker, skipping that. Since Plant 42 is no more, we could just run by now, don't have to worry about getting grabbed. Item box, getting rid of the self-defense gun. Grabbing the crank, loading the Magnum. And grenade launcher. Now to head back to the mansion. Another call from Brad. Another ignore. The crows in the falls area have been replaced with 2 dogs. And they're getting a Magnum shot for it. Equipping the assault shotgun. Up the lift. To the water pool, which now has adders, little venomous snakes. They can put you in poison status. Around the corner, there's one by the light post, gets blasted. Then on the right side of the screen, there are 3 more. Baiting them out, blasting them. Path is now clear, and it's a lot safer when we come back here later. I zigzag through the snakes on speedruns, and I'm fairly consistent with it, but here, no damage, playing it safe. Back in the garden shed, Barry left us some supplies, a dagger, plus shotgun shells, and the shotgun shells that were already here. Pretty decent haul. Reloading the shotgun, equipping the Magnum. After getting the helmet key, hunters spawn in the mansion. The first one appears once we get back to the dark corridor. Running to the other side of the chair, using the Magnum. That takes the hunter out in 1 shot. In the east wing stairway, using the assault shotgun. Waiting for that hunter to come around the corner. 3 shells. Second one jumps down, also gets 3. Except that one was actually down after the second shot. East wing storeroom, item box, loading up the assault shotgun, loading the grenade launcher with acid shells, and putting away the Magnum and the crank. Then up the stairs and down the hall. Through the resting room, helmet key to the sliding trap room. Who named it that? Pushing the statue down the middle of the room. Then running back to go behind the wall, pressing the switch, then running back to the middle to push the statue to the left, once that is in place, the walls will move back where they belong, and a hidden area is revealed. Down the hole we go to the secret passage. Last book, Volume 1. Which has the Medal of Eagle. Picking up George Trevor's diary and opening up his gravestone, which is actually a ladder down to the basement. In the concrete passage, running by, ignoring the web spinners. There are shotgun shells down here, but those aren't worth getting. In the second concrete passage, assault shotgun, dagger on the floor, 2 Zeds. Going for the decap. Didn't get it on either of them, but they are down and we are not coming back here. switching the fuse to power the elevator. Then through the door to the kitchen. Who I can assume is the head chef, formerly, now wandering towards us, running around the kitchen island, then up the elevator. Maybe that was the head chef. I'm not sure. They're not in uniform. In the elevator corridor, Zed around the corner, pretty easy to run by. Materials room, Magnum rounds, shotgun shells, battery for the courtyard, and a battery pack for the stun gun. Getting the assault shotgun ready. Unlocking the door to the mirror corridor, and back in the second floor dining room. There are 2 hunters, taking the one that's in the way out of the picture, then resetting the room so we don't get caught by the other one. Downstairs to the first floor main hall. Helmet key to unlock the large art room. Then into the mirror room. A single Zed. Decap that time. Perfect amount of shotgun shells. Picking up a dagger off the floor. And another jewelry box. Now to go see Yawn. Heading back up to the death passage. Using the helmet key to unlock the door to the trophy room, but not going in there yet. Then up the stairs to the death passage. Using the helmet key to unlock the door to the library, finally discarding the helmet key. Equipping the grenade launcher, which is loaded with acid shells. Once Yawn bursts in through the window, taking 3 quick shots with the grenade launcher, then down the ladder. Posting up by the ladder, waiting for Yawn to come around, aiming up. Done. 4 acid shells. 3 up top, 1 on the bottom. Yawn was nice enough to get the book we were looking for. The Last Book, Volume 2, which has the Medal of Wolf. Now to go visit the trophy room. In the trophy room, moving the cabinets underneath the deer mount and bull mount. grabbing the dagger, then continuing to push the cabinet in place. Turning off the light so we can see the red and yellow gemstones. If the eagle locks on to either animal, the gemstone will blink and we can't remove it. Getting it to look one way, then running to the other. We want the red gemstone first to use with the jewelry box and to free up an inventory space. Combining that with the jewelry box. Then putting the pieces together to form the Spencer family crest. That gives us the brooch, which turns into an emblem key. Finally, grabbing the yellow gemstone, then heading downstairs to the tiger statue room. On the way through, hunters will burst through these windows, but they're pretty easy to run by. Still have these two guys in here. Using the yellow gemstone on the tiger statue gives us the first of 3 MO discs, which will be used to free Chris from the cell in the lab. One of the 2 Zeds that broke in earlier is standing facing the wall of the researcher's bedroom, hugging the wall on Jill's left to run by. Then back to the dark corridor. Using the emblem key, discarding that to unlock the courtyard study. Turning on the lamp. Grabbing the metal object and the battery pack for the stun gun off the bookcase. East Wing storeroom item box. Depositing the grenade launcher. Getting the Magnum out. Thinking about what I want. Putting away the medals of Wolf and Eagle, the MO disc, the Magnum rounds. Changed my mind. I do want the grenade launcher with the acid and grenade shells. Then all the way back to the Courtyard Falls area. Since those 4 troublesome adders were taken out, the only ones left are ones that fall from above. And they really aren't a threat. I don't know if I've ever been hit by them. As long as you just run straight through. Placing the battery to power up the other birdcage lift. Then back up and to the water pool. Using the crank to fill the pool, which will close off the waterfall. Then back down the lift we just powered up. Down the ladder, into the tunnels. From the entrance passage to the forked passage. Through to the generator room. Finally, to Enrico's room. He was holding the hexagon crank. Sorry, Enrico, I need that. A hunter barges in because she wanted the crank and yells at us for it. Fortunately for us, that makes it real easy to run by. Back in the forked passage, we have two hunters. Trying to get both with an acid shell. That didn't work, but that's okay. Used up the last of the acid shells. And reloading with the grenade shells. Just hanging back, making sure they're down. Back in the entrance passage, item box getting rid of the square crank. Then using the hexagon crank to rotate a section of the passage so we can continue. Equipping the Magnum, we'll need that next. In the first boulder passage, running up to the boulder, then running back by the door to avoid getting crushed. Next up is the spider room, where we fight Black Tiger. Holding left on the analog stick to move out of the way. Waiting to see what Black Tiger does. Charges, that's good. That gives us plenty of time to get 4 shots with the Magnum. That's it. Resetting the room to despawn everything. Grabbing the knife off the barrel to clear the webs from the door. Through the straight passage and into the second boulder passage. Using the hexagon crank 3 times to rotate the section of the passage. The boulder will move as soon as it's in place, running into the newly unveiled area to avoid the boulder. The underground statue room. Pushing the statue until it's in front of the different colored piece of wall. Little different color, little different texture. Using the hexagon crank to push the wall out. Then using the crank again to retract the wall. You don't have to retract the wall. I just find it easier. This room is really awkward to move around. Pushing the statue on this center plate, which spins. It's going to rotate it. We need to rotate it twice. And to rotate again, the statue needs to be pushed off and then pushed back on. Now it can be pushed in place at the back of the room. Once the statue is in place, the compartment opens up, gives us the cylinder. Then it's back to the generator room. Entrance passage, item box, getting rid of the hexagon crank and the knife. Nice and quiet and clear. Opening the lid, the elevator's power source, taking out the shaft, combining it with the cylinder, then putting it back in place. The code is 4231 to power up the elevator. If you examine the completed shaft cylinder, you can rotate the pieces so they form Roman numerals so you can see what the code is. To the elevator. Hey, Barry shows up. Except to do nothing this time, while we go and investigate. From the garbage compactor room to the winding underground passage, Lisa is here. At the fork in the path, Lisa will spawn as soon as the camera angle changes of whichever path you go down, so we're going to go the route we don't want to go, so she spawns out of the way. In the underground storage room, pushing this crate onto the cargo transporter, then pressing the button to send it on its way. Not sure why Jill can't ride along, though. Back to the garbage compactor room, spawning Lisa so she's out of the way. And Barry elects to abandon us this time. Shame. Down the ladder, because we're going to break this box. We're going to crush it, specifically. Pushing the crate to the garbage compactor. Pressing the switch to put that garbage compactor to work. And that gives us a broken flamethrower. Then it's back to the winding underground passage with Lisa. Spawning Lisa one more time. This time pulling the lever. Then down the stairs to place the broken flamethrower on the hooks. Now we're in Lisa's room. Running all the way to the end. Ignoring those adders. Getting another jewelry box. This one contains the stone ring. Combine that with the metal object. That gets us the stone and metal object. Up the ladder. Then up the ladder again. And we're back in the cabin. We're done with the tunnels, courtyard. We're about ready to go to the final section of the game. First, we're heading all the way back to the main hall. Hey, it's those two guys from earlier. The graveyard, that's where they went. Back in the roofed passage, taking the stone and metal object out. Then back to the main hall. Back in the main hall, behind the staircase, placing the two stone and metal objects on what looks like a wrought iron gate. But we're not going through just yet. We have one more trip to the East Wing storeroom. The only item box I really use in the entire mansion. The one in the room with the serum was just to put something away, the fuel canteen, and nothing else. Last item box that we're going to use in the mansion. Fully loaded. Assault shotgun. Shotgun shells. Magnum, revolver, Magnum ammo, grenade launcher, ammo disc, metal eagle, metal wolf. A quick detour back into the courtyard study to grab shotgun shells out of the desk. Then down through the freshly unlocked door to the altar. Oh, geez. I wonder, what is on the other side of this door? Down the stairway passage to Jessica's tomb. Jessica is Lisa's mother. Equipping the assault shotgun. Hey, it's Barry again. Despite his recent betrayal, we're gonna trust him again, selecting yes to give him back his .44 Magnum. Yes, sir. Now to fight Lisa. You don't have to fight her directly, but you can. These 4 stone pillars must be pushed off to open the gate, and Lisa will jump into the abyss. However, if she goes towards Barry and he doesn't shoot, or you don't shoot, sometimes he doesn't react at all, she can knock him off, and that means we can't get the best ending. So you can knock her off the ledge and into the abyss yourself. Then you can move the pillars in peace. Lisa jumped in a good spot, Barry got a shot in, I missed a couple of shots and that's okay. Using the shotgun, she won't fall off the ledge completely on the first go. She has to get back up, then knock back down, then shot again, then she'll fall off for good. Now we can move these pillars. Pillars are clear, gate is open, up the lift to the fountain. Placing the Medal of Wolf in the north side of the fountain. And the Medal of Eagle into the south side. Then a stairway opens up on the east side of the fountain. Down the stairs, down the elevator, to the laboratory. Through the laboratory entrance, down the ladder, item box, depositing the Magnum rounds. Laboratory stairway, getting the assault shotgun out. There are 3 Zeds, aiming for 3 decaps. Didn't get the first one. Trying to bait the other 2, so if I need to burn them, I want to try to get a 2 for 1. Or a 3 for 1, if that's possible. Second one got a decap. And the third one. Since we don't have the lighter and fuel canteen anymore, we'll need incendiary rounds to torch him. Getting the Magnum out down the stairs to the O room. Using the Magnum for this guy. Hoping to get a crit, didn't get it, that's fine, so we'll need to torch him too. The Magnum has a very high chance for a crit, but it's not guaranteed. In the operating room, to the computer, log in John, John, password Ada, Ada. Unlocking the visual data room on the B2 floor, password Cell, Cell. Then unlocking the X-ray room on the B3 floor. Heading back upstairs to the newly unlocked visual data room. Grabbing the MO disc on the desk next to the door, and the final MO disc on the shelves next to the other side of the door. That's all 3. Panel on the wall, 8462. That opens up the wall to the video editing area. If you picked up Kenneth's tape off his body, this is where you can watch it. Picking up the power area key, then back downstairs to the O room. I thought that was a door. It was actually the map. Into the morgue using the power area key, pushing the shelves forward. Picking up shotgun shells off the other shelves, then up the ledge through the duct. That brings us into the surgeon's room, going through the duct on the top, the north side, which brings us back to the morgue in a different spot, down the ledge, using an MO disc on the first passcode output terminal. Then back through the ducts that we came through to the O room. Through the other power area key door, discarding that. Into the elevator entry. Hitting the assault shotgun. A nude zombie blocks our path. Like the graveyard Zeds, these don't have Crimson Head models, so they'll just despawn after they're killed. In the first section of the power maze, taking the Chimera out with 3 shotgun shells. Grabbing the fuel supply capsule. Once that capsule is full, we need to be careful or we will explode. More on that shortly. Back to the elevator entry. And into the laboratory lounge room. Incendiary shells. Conveniently placed so we can torch the 2 that did not get decapped. Aiming down. Torched. Taking care of them right away so they don't become Crimson Heads. Back to the assault shotgun. Now into the passcode corridor. Then the X-ray room, technically X-ray room B. Shotgun to the Z. Making sure he's down. He is. Second passcode output terminal. Second demo disc. Just one more to go. Examining the refueling device to fill the fuel supply capsule. It's filled with a nitro compound, and if it takes too much shock, it blows up. If you run too long, if you fire a weapon too many times, you get grabbed, it can blow up. That's why I made sure to clear the path completely so I can just walk. You can run for a few seconds and then walk for a few seconds. I don't know specifics on how many times you can fire a weapon, if any, or how many times you can get grabbed in a certain amount of time, or if it's just a one and done. So I'm playing it super safe and walking the whole time. Fuel capsules in place, resetting the room. Then running through to the second power maze. Straight ahead is the third passcode output terminal, using the third MO disk. Waiting for this chimera to slash at us. But it's slow, and we can easily run by. Then running straight to the power control room. On the other side of the room, the power control panel, starting that up to power the main elevator. Then back to the elevator entry, just running straight through. Getting the grenade launcher out. Hitting the switch for the elevator. And Barry shows up again. To the main laboratory on B4, which is supposed to be further underground, but it looks like we're actually going up based on the lights. Barry is here to betray us again before redeeming himself again and gets knocked out for it. Time to fight Tyrant. Slow, awkward, does not know how to talk to women. When the fight starts, I like to position myself between these tubes so I can see Tyrant straight on. Some of the other camera angles are pretty awkward without auto-aim. Just keep luring him around. I went too far. I believe that first one hit, second one missed. Just repeat. Making sure that he follows me in this pattern. He doesn't turn around and I accidentally run into him. There we go. Tyrant is down. After the fight, checking on Barry. I'm sure Barry is totally fine. Releasing the emergency electronic lock. You okay there, Barry? Yeah, I guess so. He'll be fine. Then it's back down, I guess, the elevator. The elevator and the B4 main laboratory defy physics. Now we can get Chris out. In the passcode corridor, pulling all three levers. Now the cell entrance is unlocked, down the stairs. And into the cell, reunited with Chris. Grabbing incendiary shells. Then it's back up to the laboratory entrance. You okay there, Chris?
Self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel must evacuate immediately. Deactivating and releasing all locks. The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel must evacuate immediately. Deactivating.
Last item box. Just grabbing the Magnum rounds. Then up the ladder. Down the passage to the heliport. One last call from Brad. Grabbing the fuse unit, placing that to power the elevator. Hopefully this elevator works correctly. 3 minutes to detonation. Barry and Chris stay behind. Up the elevator, and it actually looks like we are going up. This is a conventional elevator. Picking up, then immediately using the signal rockets to start the final Tyrant fight. Tyrant operates on a timer until Brad drops the rocket launcher. Doing damage to him shortens that timer. At the start of the fight, 2 Magnum rounds to get his attention. I like to use tank controls here to run by Tyrant's right side, as the big claw is on his left arm. Walking, pausing, waiting for a charge. Running towards the right side, away from the claw. Moving clockwise as much as possible to be as far away from the claw as possible. I was doing a lot more running than shooting this time. Normally, I use up all my Magnum ammo and start using the shotgun. I was playing it very safe. There we go. Brad drops the rocket launcher. Picking it up, we have 4 rockets to work with. Running and waiting for the next charge to get into position. I was very confident this rocket would hit, and if I didn't adjust my aim, I actually would have hit him. Tyrant takes 2 rockets as he deflects the first one. Unless he's holding Barry, which I recently learned that will only take 1, and Barry will survive. Rocket hits, he's done. Best ending, everyone flies off into the sunrise. There's the sunrise. Jill falls asleep because she actually did work. Chris just looks like he did. Roll credits.
Jill, you did a fine job.
That concludes this no save, no damage run of a Resident Evil 1 remake. Jill, Real Survival, Best Ending, with a completion time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 10 seconds. Thanks for watching.